Fani Willis. We all know Fani Willis, right? Everybody know Fani with the donkey. You feel me? Fani with that, you know what I mean? She got that. Yo, listen, anytime you see a black woman with a fat, natural ass under that goddamn work dress, come on, man. That shit is special right here. You know what I mean? She been sitting on a whole lot of ass, man. You know what I mean? She indicted Jeffrey, YFN Lou. She cleaned up the streets of Atlanta. I heard Cleveland Ave. You won't catch a nigga jaywalking over there now because of Miss Fani Willis. Now, we all know, okay, even with the biggest of superheroes, which she is one, comes with a little bullshit. Yes, she's been sucking and fucking every nigga known to man. Allegedly, okay? She was fucking some gang members that Young Thug allegedly killed, and then she was fucking this nigga walking behind her, and then they went after Trump. It's been all coming all down and crashing because Trump hired like 55 private investigators to go all through her life. So they knew everybody who she was fucking and sucking. Now it's brought up in court saying, yo, she's basically misusing the office of being the district attorney of Fulton County to try to prosecute a former president, and also paid a special prosecutor, which is this guy, Nathan Wade, an exorbitant amount of money, $500,000, I think that's the number, 500 to 600,000, to be the prosecutor, which people and even other people within the government there think is too much. But why did she pay him that? Because she was sucking that nigga. He was for vacations. So this is crazy. So she admitted she fucked him. He admitted he fucked her. And they got to tell the truth because they're up on the stand, and obviously they're prosecutors. They know, like, what the fuck? If you allow on the stand, they're going to, you know, people they got the dirt on you, doggy, right? Okay, check this out first and foremost. Let me go show y'all this. So Newsmade had posted, this is what the guy said, right? Exposed the fuck out of Fani Willis. Here we go.
Which included up to May the 30th of 2023. Isn't that correct, sir?
My answer to this interrogatory is none. It's none.
So you're saying that you did not have sexual relationships with anyone outside of your marriage, and the period of separation is during the period that you're answering the question to this interrogatory, correct, sir?
I'm saying during the course of my marriage, I did not have sexual relations to anyone, and this answer is no.
Well, again, Your Honor,
I understand. You can proceed, Mr.
We need a yes or no. Let's just get down to it. Did you or did you not, by May the 30th, 2023, have had sexual relations with Miss Willis, yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what you did is...
Was that pussy good? Yo, y'all think she got, you think she got that wet? She got it, right? She got to. Yo, this is a constant reminder we're all human, people. This is the constant reminder we're all human. Even the people who will be elect to hold us all accountable, to prosecute the worst of society. Someone who I think a lot of us would believe that, you know, even if you feel like she's targeting rappers, she is trying to clean up the streets. But everybody's weak. For one thing, the flesh is weak, man. Fani Willis, she's a freak. You feel me? She's a freak. That's all you need to know. Does she do a good job? Now, could both things be true? Here's the thing, though. Conflict of interest will nullify a bunch of stuff, but could both things be true? Could you have a chick who's a whore, and I'm not calling her a whore necessarily, but it does seem like she's a little freaky. Could you have a woman with a promiscuous past still be a good prosecutor? I think so. However, it has to be noted that that promiscuity could have that person swayed, right? You know what I mean? Shit. And that's what, by the way, never came up. But remember, the first rumors about Fani Willis is that she slept with the guy that was the main target of the YSL RICO case in terms of who got killed. And it was a guy named Donovan Nutt Thomas. They said she fucked him, allegedly. They said she kept a picture of him in her office for years. She met with his mom, promising that she would get justice, not only for her son, which is the son, the mom of Donovan Nutt Thomas, but that was her nigga she was fucking, and people killed him. Now, she kind of said those were erroneous lies. Like, she wrote a letter about it, kind of. Because Trump started kind of getting on her ass when she started going at Trump. And this is also another lesson we're learning about this. Fani Willis is the example of what Kanye West is going through. Anytime you think you're too big, powerful, and mighty, you need to understand where your powers lie and where you could, like, where your punching weight is. You could bite off more than you could chew. That's what's going on with Ye. Ye thought he could talk about the Jews and thought he could keep it G. And he thought he would just keep it moving. You know, Ye has said many different things in his life that we've now forgotten. This one, they won't let that nigga forget. This one, they're beating his ass with. This one, he keep copping pleas for. This one, they don't even want an apology. They want his neck on a fucking stake. That's what's happening with Fani Willis. It's okay when you indicted the most popular rapper in Atlanta, Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug. It's okay when you indicted YFN Lucy. It's okay when you're supposedly, allegedly investigating Lil Baby and 21 Savage and all these other people that people love. Actually, even Playboi Carti allegedly would be investigated, allegedly, by Fani Willis, like, they're not their DA office, but the external police departments that report to them. You get what I mean? And she was basically saying, if you bring me shit on any of these rappers, I'll take them fucking down. Because I don't care about how popular these niggas are in motherfucking King of Diamonds and Compound and all these fucking clubs. I'll take them down. I'm a black woman. I'll hold that burden. Nobody gonna get at me. She bit off a little bit more than she could chew when she went at former President Donald Trump. Now, you got to remember, she's playing the game trying to get into Capitol Hill somehow. She wants to get into, who knows, if it was a play to get into maybe some DOD stuff, Department of Defense, or she was trying to make a political play. Maybe she could spin that into, you know, any type of political position, but on a national level, right? You know, having I was hard on crime. Like, think about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, she gained her stripes by, like, allegedly being really, you know, like being on top of her shit when it came to her, you know, localities and stuff like that. So I think that you had Fani Willis was like, shit, I'm about to write my check to the White House or to Congress or to, like, whatever bigger position that's going to be national, except I think Trump be on timing, man. Trump got them people who are hackers, well, actually, you don't fuck with QAnon. You fuck with them other niggas, 4chan or some shit like that. He got the Proud Boys hacking her shit, and he found out that she's a goddamn freak. She likes the honey pack, and she likes a thumb in the ass, okay? And that's her own personal fucking business. If she want to give the gawk $3 million to whoever she want to do it to, but not while you're trying to siphon off money to this guy. So anyway, the guy's on the stand, and he's copping out, and he's admitting to everything. Like, they can't lie, you know what I mean? Because if there's proof that could be found later, they not only would they be up for perjury, which would include a jail sentence if they were actually charged and convicted for that, they're done politically. So they have to tell the truth. Like, they got to be more, they can't try to, I know y'all was like, y'all like that guy who was like, thugs stand for truly humbled under God, or whatever, nigga. They have to be truthful. They can't try to spin nobody because they have a career in this, right? So Nathan Wade basically admits that he's been fucking Fani Willis.
You answered no to that question, didn't you? Or none, correct?
I didn't answer no to the question you just asked. I answered no to the interrogatory question.
And the interrogatory stands that you answered as a pleading in a civil proceeding, your divorce case, right?
Yes.
Now, excuse me. The next interrogatory, let's move there. That interrogatory states as follows. Identify any and all occasions in which you entertain a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse who is not related to you by blood or marriage. You see that? There are two parts to this. The second part is, I read on, or in which a member of the opposite sex other than your spouse not related to you, by blood or marriage, entertained you. And then it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining, drinking, in restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels. You see that, correct?
I do.
Now, as of May the 30th, 2023, when you filed this interrogatory, you had in fact entertained Ms. Willis on many occasions, had you not?
Again, during the course of the marriage was irretrievably broken in 2015.
Well,
The answer's still no.
Let's read what the interrogatory says about the time period required to answer the interrogatory. Because what it says is, it goes on to say, including but not limited to dining and or drinking at any restaurants, bars, pubs, hotels.
By the way, the reason why he also has to be so truthful about all these things, most of these things were used and recorded on business credit cards. Actually, some of them were reported, according to at least some of the allegations, as business expenses. Right? Now, he's later going to be like, oh, yeah, I got paid back for some of these things. But a lot of this stuff was kind of like gray area. They're using a company card, but really they're on a date, but they're claiming they're talking business. Yeah, what business y'all talking if she about to suck your dick at the end of the night? You get what I mean?
Those are persons' homes from the date of marriage to the present. You understand what the word present means?
I do.
And present means the filing on May the 30th, 2023. Isn't that right?
It is.
So, as of May the 30th...
Now, they're playing a tricky game with him because he filed something in court because he's going through a divorce. And they're saying that, did you lie about not having been with anybody else? Because we know you've been with Fani Willis. You just admitted you were with Fani Willis. And I'm pretty sure that's not after the date you filed that, which was May 2023. He's trying to play semantics by saying, no, when I filed it, we were talking about when the marriage was irretrievably broken, which was 2015. So they're trying to catch him in like a lie, but he's smart enough where he's going to talk around it, I think.
In 2023, you had done a lot, or you had done...
So basically, the reason why, just to put it out there, he was fucking Fani Willis before last year. That's the point, right? So 2023, they probably have some proof that he was fucking her or hanging out with her, or they have receipts that they went places together before 2023. And if they could get him to say, oh, I never did anything before 2023, he's lying, right? So he's making sure he doesn't lie by saying, I'm not going to answer that question. The question I'll answer is that I didn't do anything outside of my marriage, but I was talking about before it was broken in 2015. So there's a gap of time of 8 years. You know what I mean?
A lot of entertaining of Miss Willis, had you not?
I had done some, yes.
And in fact, under your testimony, you would have said that she had also entertained you. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so your answer to this interrogatory is false, is it not, sir?
No, it's not false.
Well, hate to dance around the... the answer is yes, you did entertain Miss Willis, correct? Right?
Yes.
She's not your spouse at that time or any time, correct?
That's correct.
She's not related to you by blood or marriage, correct?
That's correct.
But you entertained her, right?
Yes.
And during the course from your marriage, the period of time up to the present, so the answer would have been, yes, I did entertain somebody, correct?
During the course of the marriage, no.
Mr. Wade.
Mr. Gill, I think we've made our point. I think it speaks for itself, and we can save that for our...
I'll just follow up with one quick question. Do you understand what the word present means?
Your Honor, I'm going to ask you.
I think we did cover that already as well.
Okay. Now, what has happened, period of separation...
Okay. Fani Willis also took the stand. And Fani Willis, you know her. Look at her. I ain't gonna lie. You know they say don't judge a book by its cover, but goddamn, Fani looked like she got some good pussy. Let's be honest. Like, look at her. She looked like she's sitting on that wet. I ain't gonna lie. If she was my lawyer, I'd try to fuck her too. Like, she do look like she got some good shit, bro. Let's be honest.
Paid him through cash.
And she looked like she got like, You know she loved to talk. She looked like she got like she got she got that extra reservoir of saliva. Like she looked like she would suck you up into another fucking dimension.
Well, yes. What we're talking about, I'm very confused.
You've
now.
never given Mr. Wade money through Cash App.
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract.
That was cute. Oh, nah. Oh, nah. Oh, nah. That was crazy. What? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you.
What happened? No, we're gonna answer it since you said it.
Damn. Okay. This is where, by the way, I think this is like I forgot what this actual proceeding is. I don't think this is the impeachment hearing, actually. Because, by the way, there was articles of impeachment actually filed against her. But, yo, she's talking like she's the boss. Like, whoa, you're on the witness stand. You don't get to tell me, like, whoa, answer my fucking questions and let's keep it going. But look how she's talking.
He worked. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash.
Shit.
Did you ever pay him anything? And I'm trying to qualify my questions. I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given him cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've
if
never
we
used
would go to
credit card?
dinner,
Let her finish her answers.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no...
Yo, why does she feel so offended? Yo, Fani. Fani. Yo, Fani a freak. I ain't gonna lie. Yo, Fani giving bottom bitch energy. Nah, she feisty with it. Nah, Fani giving, yo, no bullshit and no shade or nothing, but Fani giving Lil Boom energy 4 hours into the conversation, gaslighting to the point you think you crazy.
proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my question, you ever paid him through cash?
Yo, Fani gaslighting, yo. Fani, you. Oh, by the way, I heard this live right now. We gotta get to Fani Willis. Holy Fani Willis. Here we go. Oh shit. Shit live like a motherfucker right now.
Your question was, she's not sure whether it was before or after.
They made this a little smaller, Chef.
Well, I'm not sure that was her answer, but let's see if I can get specific.
Oh.
That is what I said. That's what I said.
I'll let you. Next question.
Let me go back a little bit.
Select between leading and open.
Hold on. All right, so they're done with that nigga.
If you do me a favor, I don't know what cruise ship, what time. So if you'll help me and say October cruise with Mama or the New Year's Eve trip with his sisters, I'll be able to, we can communicate. I just don't know what ship.
October cruise with Mama. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He paid for the cruise and the flights for that trip.
So he called his cruise agent and he booked that through them because he has a cruise agent.
Right.
He also has a regular agent. I don't know the cruise agent's name.
So I wasn't asking about his travel agent. I was just asking if he paid for those.
He did not, though.
Okay.
Because the reason I consider that he did not is I gave him his money back.
And I was about to ask that. But initially, he paid for them.
Yeah, he called his cruise agent. Like, I think they have his card on record. They do whatever.
Okay. So initially, he paid for the cruise and the flight to Miami and the Royal Caribbean cruise.
And my understanding of that October cruise is like it was a package the lady did for him.
Okay. So, and I'll get to the reimbursements and all that. I'm just trying
Did
to...
y'all fuck on the cruise though? Clearly, yes, right?
confirm he paid for the flight and the
Y'all can hear this good?
in October.
And I think that when you say things that way, I want this record to be
Initially.
abundantly clear that he calls his travel agent, he calls his cruise agent. They do whatever he tells them. He's like on a first name basis with these people. They do it, and then he tells me how much it is, and I give him the money back. I don't, just like you're asking me about the money with Robin, I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're going to get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. Whatever he told me it was, I gave him his money back.
Isn't it true that he paid for the cruise and the flight on his credit card? I'm not asking about reimbursement or after. He used his credit card to buy the cruise and buy the flight, correct?
I have no idea how he paid for it, if it's a credit card, if it's a debit card, but certainly he called his cruise agent. You know, like how many people have a cruise agent? He calls his cruise agent, tells them where they want to go. They tell him what's booked. And you have to remember, he paid for, that initial was me, him, and his mother.
And then after that cruise, you all flew to Aruba and spent a couple days in a hotel there, correct?
Right, and his mother was not happy
He
that we left her
initially
behind.
paid for that. He initially paid for that.
For Aruba, yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba, yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM?
No.
Okay. So Fulton County pays you direct deposit, I assume?
Yes, Fulton
Okay.
County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there.
When you meet my father, he's going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all times. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does. When we were growing up, my daddy had 3 safes in the house. So my father's bought me a lockbox, and I always keep cash in the house. Now, I don't do it to the degree that my father would do it, so he would probably...
By the way, she's thought out this lie really well, chat. Oh yeah, of course I paid him back. I have no proof I paid him back. So really, the guy didn't use whatever funds, or I didn't use whatever funds that were state funds or funds that could be like whatever, because we always paid each other back. Okay, where's the proof you paid each other back? Oh no, I always had cash. She thought it out. She's not stupid.
Be ashamed with me, but I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go. So I keep cash in my house, and I don't keep cash as good in my purse like I used to. 'Cause I don't go on many dates, but when you go on a date, you should have cash in your pocket.
She a freak, man. She don't go on dates. House calls only, nigga. Netflix and chill, nigga.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from, if it didn't come out of the bank?
Cash is fungible. I've had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you I just have cash in my house, I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. So you just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women.
So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from?
I didn't say I couldn't identify it. No, nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me. What you asked me for is, when did the money go in there? What I am trying to tell you is, so I got divorced in 2005 from my husband. No. It's important. You said, where did the money come from? And I need to tell you where the money came from. And so for many, many years, I have kept money in my house. That money in my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000. At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house at cash. At all times, there's going to be cash in my house or wherever I'm laying my head.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash, in October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
Do you know which job it came from? Did it come from Fulton County or did it come from a private job?
It came from, what are you talking about? So it could have come from a private job because before I was DA, I was in private practice. So I earned money during that time period. That's probably in there.
You don't know
That's when she represented Y. Salmondo. She actually was a defense attorney for a while.
Move on.
Okay, thanks. Same with Aruba. You don't know where that cash came from either, right?
Ma'am, you are mischaracterizing my testimony greatly. I'm not going to allow you to mischaracterize my testimony. I know that I keep money in my house. The amounts of money I gave Mr. Wade, it was never that serious. I don't think I've ever handed him more than $2,500 in a reimbursement. So we're not talking about $20,000 in cash. I don't have $20,000 in cash right now. The most I ever gave him, I know I gave him $2,500 when we went to Belize because we went to one hotel and then we went to a second hotel. That $2,500 I actually gave him while we were still in Belize. I know that the Aruba trip, the one that you described with his mom, I think I gave him about $2,000 for that trip for like total.
His mom went to Aruba with you?
The Aruba trip. So I consider that to be one trip. So we got off of a cruise ship and then we went to Aruba, which is why I cannot remember is that the time that we had to stay in Miami to wait for the flight for Aruba. So I consider that one trip, but we didn't like come back to Atlanta and leave. We flew down to Miami. We got on a cruise ship. We spent a couple of days with his mama. We came back to Miami. When we came back to Miami, either that day or the next day, we flew to Aruba. We spent a few days in Aruba and we came back. That was really one trip. Even though we went two places, it was one trip.
So let's talk about the California trip. Is that when you were moving your daughter out to California? When you all went, or did you have two trips to California?
My daughter doesn't live in California.
Did she ever live in California?
I'm not discussing to you the location of my child.
So
What the fuck?
How many times did you go with Mr.
You could say that? I'm not discussing the location of my child. Wait, what the fuck?
Wade to California?
Once.
And you all stayed in Napa Valley and he paid for the plane tickets and the hotel?
He paid for the plane tickets and the hotel.
And what did you pay for on that trip?
I gave him much less cash that time, probably $400 or $500, and then I paid for a bunch of stuff. I think we did 2 different wine tours that you do, which are pretty expensive. I think I bought him. He likes wine. I don't really like wine.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy? At the core of all this shit with Fani Willis, man, she's just like Meg Thee Stallion and motherfucking Carisha and them, my nigga. Like, you know, she just got a nice little dress and looks presentable. But she with the same bullshit.
To be honest with you, I like Grey Goose.
Oh shit, I like Grey Goose. A cup of Grey Goose gonna get Fani Willis loose. That's what I'm talking about, man.
A wine while we were there, and
Let's run that back.
Tickets in the hotel?
he paid for the plane
Said
ticket.
fuck that wine. I like Grey Goose. You know she loose off the goose. Like that's what I'm talking about.
In the hotel.
And what did you pay for on that trip?
I gave him much less cash that time, probably $400 or $500, and then I paid for a bunch of
Loose off
stuff.
the
I think we
goose.
did 2 different wine tours that you do, which are pretty expensive. I think I bought him. He likes wine. I don't really like wine, to be honest with you. I like Grey Goose.
Yo, Fani, I gotta go get my Casamigos. I'm vibing with her now. Vibing with her. She get loose off the goose.
I bought him a bottle of wine while we were there. And
Fuck that Merlot shit, man. Nobody want to hear about no Riesling. Let's get to Hennessy. Casamigos.
the sippings that you do. I can't remember how many, like 4 or 5 different.
I gotta go get my bottle. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Hold up a second, chat. She talking my language.
To this place that they do pairings. That was the most expensive thing that I think that we did while we were there. So they would pair, champagne, chocolate, and caviar. It was a 3, and it was like 3 different things: Sweden, Russia, someplace else. I'll make that up, but that was the most expensive thing we did that trip, and I paid for that.
You pay cash?
For us doing that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think but that trip did not cost me a lot of money. I might have took like $750 in cash on me because we weren't gone very long.
I'd only asked if you paid in cash. I don't need to know the amounts.
When I travel, I always take cash.
And is the cash that you keep in your house, or do you keep it at the condo that you were living in?
So at that point, it wouldn't be at my house, and I'm sorry if I was not clear. The money would be wherever I laid my head. So I wouldn't leave the money at the house. So if I was unclear, no. Money's going to be where I stay.
How much did you pay for your trip to Panama?
To where?
Panama, I believe.
I didn't go to Panama.
I may have the location wrong.
I never went to Panama.
So
Mr.
after
Wade went to Panama with his frat brother.
Oh, he went to Panama with his frat brothers. So tell me about, let's see.
Talk that shit, Fani.
We've got Belize. You already covered Belize. You covered the...
So let me tell you our real trips. In October, we went on the cruise with his mom. We got back from the cruise with his mom and we went to Aruba. I consider that one trip. Second trip, New Year's Eve, we went on a cruise to the Bahamas.
Damn.
That's the second trip. I want to make sure I get this.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yo, Fani, you done fucked up. Y'all was fucking to bring in the new year in? Yeah, you can't be on no case.
Right.
With that nigga.
Trip, 100% on me. I think he might have spent $200 on that entire trip.
You tricking?
Went to Belize. That was my trip. That was,
Yo, chat. Get you a girl that will pay for the trips too, bro. Sugar Mama Fani? Oh, Sugar Mama Fani buying trips for niggas, getting loose off the Goose, giving it up on a cruise ship? Oh my God. Yo, chat. Fani Willis is showing us, bro. You know, I realize I be sleeping on these career women. I be like, man, these bitches ain't freaky, man. They ain't about to. Man, this bitch is a freak.
his 50th. And then Napa Valley, we went around May. I don't know the dates, but
I gotta get into I'm a basic nigga. I gotta get into some of this high class Napa Valley wine tasting, get your dick sucked behind the grape vineyard. I gotta get into that. I didn't know they had freak offs over there too.
Seems to me like it was close to Mother's Day.
And those are the only trips?
So that the record is complete.
This bitch been on more trips than me, nigga.
Remember one time driving to, where were we? South Carolina, and we met my sister for lunch with her man.
When was that?
I don't know, but we didn't stay the night there. But I guess people would consider that a trip if you drive somewhere and you come back. That was insane because it was like 5 hours to drive. We ate lunch and we drove right back. I can remember driving to some little town in Georgia. I don't even know where I was. I had never been there before or after. There's some boat you can get on over to, and there's like a slave thing, if that gives anyone any reference. We didn't do that. I remember doing that. I remember driving one time to Charlotte. We had lunch with one of my very close girlfriends, and again, we drove to Charlotte, met my girlfriend for lunch, and drove right back. So that's a trip. We didn't stay the night there.
Double dating, Fani?
But I just want to be complete in my testimony. We drove someplace, had lunch, drove back. I don't remember another driving someplace.
Yo, chat. I swear. Hey, any of y'all with a girl, and by the way, my chat queens, I'm talking to y'all too. Y'all can chime in. Any of y'all with like a serious girlfriend, say like we're talking about serious, like you've been with her either for a couple of years, at least a year to qualify, or you live with her, or you're married to her. This is the definition of why anytime, like I ain't gonna lie, like actually I want to out real people, but man, if your girl got a work husband, she fucking that nigga, gang. Nigga, it's only a matter of time. Anytime a girl got a work husband, nigga, only thing you got a picture in her mind, she work in a cubicle, that nigga just sleazily just slide up in there, start giving her an aggressive deep tissue massage. Even if they ain't fuck yet, it's too much sexual tension, gang. Trust me, that's a fact. She was fucking this nigga and probably just calling it work. Like, you know what I mean? No, she double dipping. Working and fucking. If your girl got a work husband, a nigga who she said This is telltale signs your girl is about to suck off a nigga at her job. Your girl tells you, yo, Marcus, he mad funny. You know what he said today in front of the boss? Nah, hell nah, fuck that. Marcus is fucking her. Marcus is fucking her. Trust me. If your girl think a nigga at her job is funny, yo, that nigga like a clown, yo. He funny as hell. You know what he did today? What he did today was fuck my bitch. That's what he did. Get the fuck out of here. Hell no. By the way, I learned that lesson early, chat. I learned that lesson. I had a girlfriend I was coming out of high school. She was working at a little summer camp. You know, a little summer camp where they get little kids? She kept telling me, I remember 2 days in a row, she told me, I don't want to call the nigga real name. She was like, man, that nigga's so funny, yo. Yo, that nigga just had us dying laughing. The whole time I'm thinking I'm being secure. Like, that's my thing. I think it's almost like insecure if you're asking too much about another man. So I'm like, all right, whatever. It's all right, bet, whatever. But she was like, yeah, that nigga mad funny. Man, she was fucking that nigga like 3 weeks later, nigga. We broke up 2 weeks after that. She was fucking that nigga. Well, she probably was fucking him the whole time. But she got in a relationship with his ass afterwards. I ain't gonna hold you.
For lunch and coming back to Charlotte.
Trust me, a chick got a 9 to 5. The nigga you got to worry about most is the nigga who keep talking to her at her job, bro. That nigga been wearing her down. He been listening to her bitch about you. He been figuring out what she like. He been like simping. He been taking lunch the same time she taking lunch. He's spending quality time. He listen. He do all the shit you don't do, nigga. She come home, she trying to talk to you. You playing Fortnite. You playing 2K. You playing Madden. That nigga is getting paid to be there. Of course he gonna do the corny shit. You feel me?
Your girlfriend to meet my sister in South Carolina. We went by ourselves when I told you about that remote place in Georgia.
I don't got infinite L's, chat. I be just telling y'all the truth. Like, y'all want me to lie to y'all? Like, I've had my wins too, you know?
We could have driven someplace else and had lunch and came back, but that's all that comes to my recollection.
Look at Kimmy in the chat. Kimmy in the chat told me it's true. My work husband is always there for me. The mere fact you call him a work husband is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, what you mean you got a work husband? You have a man, Kimmy? Kimmy, I want. How do you describe your work husband to your boyfriend or your husband, your actual husband? How do you describe that nigga to him? God forbid she tell you the nigga at her job that's funny supposedly is gay. Yo, women are the only people who could just make straight niggas gay as fuck just to continue whatever they want to do with said nigga. Be like, you ain't know? That nigga gay. No, he actually bi, but like to keep it real, he only be talking about gay shit. Really? Yeah. We actually talk about, we both be talking about like celebrity dudes. And he be talking about dudes he think look good. Really? All right, fucking, we ain't gonna think about Marcus no more. Cap.
Right now, there could have been another place we drove and had lunch. My security team was very clear to me. I'm not to be out and about in Atlanta without them. And so for me to do something just very normal that a normal person would get to do if they weren't prosecuting this case, I got to drive 4 hours to do it.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Your security detail, did they take you to and from your house?
Yo, this is just like the Meg situation. You know, Meg had Meg was so devious to fuck Tory. She would lie to her security. Actually not even use the normal protocol of booking jets, and would book a jet without anybody on her team knowing, board the jet and go link Tory and rely on Tory's security. Nobody on her team knew she was with Tory. That's devious. That's some, I ain't gonna lie, only females would do that type of shit. If you tricking your security team to go fuck somebody, you dipping and dodging, doing all this, driving 4 hours, nah, that's dedication. That's dedication right there.
So I haven't been able to enjoy my home.
Condo, I'm sorry.
Since March of
where you lay your head. Did they take you to and from where you lay your head?
99% of the time.
Would they take Mr. Wade to and from wherever you laid your head?
That has never in the history of ever happened. Ever, okay?
Your security team has never taken him?
From my house? That's a lie.
I'm
That's
asking
another,
if they've ever taken him anywhere.
and I'm telling you that that's never happened.
So your security team has never taken
My
Mr. Wade
security team has never taken Mr. Wade from any place where I have lived and brought him here. Never. Not once. Not ever.
anywhere. Have they ever taken the two of you together?
To where?
Anywhere.
We've left this building and gone to lunch, but I go to lunch so rarely that is a very rare occasion. I am sure, and let me be clear, it wouldn't just be Mr. Wade. So I'm sure my security team has taken me to lunch. Probably been a time I've left here 7 o'clock, gone to get something to eat, and I don't even know that they would have taken him or if he would have driven himself, but they've taken me to do that. But we're talking very few, very far in between. Most days I don't even eat lunch, and when I do, it's because my assistant has heated up some bag, something, and I eat through meetings and eat in my office. It's not a practice of mine to go to lunch.
During the time period that you were dating, would your security team ever take you two together anywhere?
No.
Never.
If there was a lunch that occurred that I just described, if there was a meal that occurred that I just described, anything outside of that, and it needs to be very clear, not often, once, twice, because I want to be over-inclusive, I'm saying once or twice. I'm not certain that it happened, but I'd rather be over-inclusive with you.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
And, well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So my
Damn!
question was,
Yo! She's snappy. Y'all got a theory, man. Chat, you know y'all be like, yo, act, yo, you be dating crazy women. You be dating this. Let me say this. Never mind. Let me just
do you have any
I
problem?
object to you getting any personal records of mine.
I was gonna make a bad analogy. Let me not even say it.
And I'm not, no, I'm not dealing with privilege. What we had offered to put them in camera for the court to review, and I just want to know if she has any
That's not
problem.
something you deal with a witness.
I was gonna make a bad analogy, man.
Okay. You have to file as part of your job something called an income and financial disclosure report, correct?
That's correct.
And you filed your first one, so you filed 2 to date, is that right?
Is it 2 or 3? I probably would have filed 21, 22, and maybe I haven't filed 23 yet, because isn't it due like June of the next year?
April, I believe. So you filed, let's see, you filed your first one, it looks like April 15th, 2022, and your second one, April 17th, 2023. Does that sound familiar?
That I don't remember the dates, but you're an officer of the court. I'm gonna hope you're telling the truth now.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you. I already gave the state a copy, exhibit 20 and 21, if you take a look at those. They're part of the certified records.
Can somebody bring me some? Yeah. Guys are getting a little old.
Let me fast forward a little bit.
2020. Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at a place that you
He
resided?
has never been to my home in South Fulton. 2020.
Nah, she a hoe. You been fucking a nigga for a whole 2 years and he never been to your house? You a hoe. That mean that nigga been just knocking it down in hotels, back of cars, court bathrooms. Nah, you a hoe. You a hoe. That nigga, nah, you a hoe. That's a fact.
Was before I knew.
Any of y'all chat queens, if you never been to a nigga's house and you've been fucking him for a whole year, you a hoe. Or you one of his hoes. Let me just be honest with you, okay? I'm just letting you know. Either you're a hoe or you're the side chick. Well, I guess technically she was a side chick because he was married. But yeah, you ain't never seen that nigga house after a year of fucking?
Knew that a phone call was going to be made and I was going to have to abandon my home. As a result thereof, he never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton.
That's where I lived in 2020.
2020, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay. I don't understand. You're going to give me guys. In 2020,
So
I lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my home in
I think we're
South
gonna clarify
Fulton,
this. We'll break it
he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to caution you. This is going to be the first time I have to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens
She hot.
again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony. So, we need to break this down. Ms. Merchant's question, I believe, was asking whether you lived anywhere other than South Fulton.
I did not live anywhere but South Fulton, Georgia in 2020. That is before I began my prosecution of this case, and it was my plan to only live there.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Miss Yurdi?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did.
Yes.
Did he ever spend the night at that condo?
No.
Just visited.
Yeah, but he did visit for sure.
Did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about,
In
during
2020?
2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been, let me think, 2019. I'm going to say, I don't know, I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone, so I'm going to say yes.
So outside of the vacations that we've already talked about, did you ever go out to dinner with Mr. Wade?
I mentioned to you that
I'm going to object as to what time period. Like we're asking very vague questions. I thought we were treating the witness as.
I'm gonna skip through it a little bit.
Ask the next question. Ms. Willis and Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities to let you clarify your answers when it's her turn.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
Object. This is not.
Oh shit! Yo, she is spicy.
Ms. Merchant, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
If you say I did.
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No.
Okay.
I went shopping too and I didn't pay it off.
And you talked about, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors of a book called Finance, right?
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them
No,
2 or 3 times.
My question is relevant as to.
I think it's already come up that finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
$50,000 of my personal money out of my retirement, and that money ended up being lost. And I know when you bet on yourself, you're going to have to bet money on yourself. And so what I was talking about was not wanting to go through the personal financial expense of running for office. By no means did I think that I was going to be financially in a bad position once I won. Let's talk about what I was up against, because it's important to understand that comment. I had a district attorney who had been here for 24 years. People, it's very relevant as to what my mindset was about this. So I'm trying to answer your question. So what I was saying is
Tailored solely to finance.
Right, but it is about my finances. If I didn't, nobody put me in this seat. So I had already run for office once. I had spent $50,000 of my own money running, and it was vamoose, nothing. And so when I'm talking to those offers, I'm talking about the contemplation of the sacrifice of the run, not the sacrifice of once you become DA. the odds were against me. I was likely going to lose the election based on who I was running against. So that needs to be in the appropriate context.
Isn't it true that the authors also wrote, and you can dispute this if you'd like, that you were broke after that race?
The 2018 race.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a hard race. I wasn't broke like I didn't have any. So broke is relative to depending where you are, but that hurt to lose that $50,000. So I'm sure my mental mindset.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Did anyone else stay with you at the Yurty condo, including Miss Yurty?
Never. Miss Yurty never lived in the condo. She met her husband.
Yurty was at the condo.
So Miss Yurty and me Mr. Wade were friends, at least that time period.
Okay, I'm not talking about.
So no. I want to be clear because my credibility is being evaluated here, right? We were friends. We hung out prior to November of 2021. In November of 2021, I hired him. I do not consider our relationship to have become romantic until early of 2022. Because I don't know a date and time, I'm saying sometime between February and April of 2022, and very early April of 2022, because I know that trip that I discussed with you was like the first week of 2022, that the relationship had become romantic. I hope that answered your question, but I can't have it where, we're saying something differently.
All right, so you've established the timeline as you put it. The question originally was, at that time, did you tell any other prosecutors on the prosecution?
I never tell people at work who I'm dating.
All right, Mr. Sato.
Okay. Did you take any trips to D.C. with Mr. Wade?
Never.
By the way, Sato, you heard they just said they said Mr. Sato. That is the lawyer that represented Gunna, I believe. He represented Gunna. Is it? Make sure I'm not. Let me see. Gunna lawyer. Yeah. He represented Gunna's lawyer, and Donald Trump also hired him. Right? Now, keep in mind, this is why also, this is a really good hire, but it's a strategic hire. So Steven Sado, I call him Sado, but it's Sado. Okay. By the way, this was my man Michael Seidenberg from WSB TV. He told me I've been pronouncing his name wrong, and this guy hates it. Steven Sado. Keep in mind, he worked on the YSL trial, which she's also prosecuting, and she's working for Trump, who she's also trying to prosecute as well. So this guy, he really knows this woman and her tactics and has history with this woman. But also, here's the silver lining if you care about kind of like a House of Cards-esque type of thing that has happened. Steven Sado is a well-reputed criminal defense attorney that has to work in Fulton County a lot. Him essentially going at her for Trump is going to put a lot of other things that he's going to bring to that court is going to make it a little dicey. Because you know what she's going to do? She's going to tell her assistant DAs, yo, fuck them niggas up. Fuck that plea. Get at them niggas. You know what I mean? If I'm her, if I'm Fani Willis, you know what I tell the DAs in the YSL trial? Put Gunna on the stand. Put that bitch ass nigga Gunna on the stand now. Put him on the stand in the next day that we could let his attorney know, stop fucking playing with me in this Trump case, because I'll have the nigga who's giving you millions, Gunna, looking crazy. So let's play ball nicely. I won't fuck with you, but you don't fuck with me neither. You get what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. If you kind of care about this type of thing, it's kind of like House of Cards. You ever watch some of these political shows they have on Netflix? It's kind of like that, just in real life, right? These guys who are asking some of these questions, they have to kind of they're playing like a role type shit. You know what I mean? You can't just go violate this woman when you have to go against her in every criminal trial.
Did you take, so do you have no, what I would call personal trips or business trips to D.C. with Mr. Wade?
I never went to D.C. with Mr. Wade, personal, business, otherwise, never.
Okay, so
I've never been in the District of Columbia with Mr. Wade, or Maryland, Virginia, the DMV as they call it.
So as I understand it, just to be clear, any trips that you would have taken to see D.C.
That was a pretty clear answer.
Huh?
That was a pretty clear answer.
Ask him
She just said no.
Twice.
So do you have a variation or something new to bring up?
Now, I will also tell you that, so like in the comments and what people are saying, they feel like the judge is on her side. It's probably a lot of people who support Trump because they want her to be disqualified. Keep in mind, I don't know necessarily about this particular judge, but again, the DA works pretty much closely with the judges. And it looks like the inquiry into this hearing is coming from people that might align with Trump, that might either are in politics, Trump, his attorneys, and also maybe some people from the court.
I'll ask it and we'll see. Did you take trips to D.C. that were non-business during the time period that this case or this matter was under?
Brittany, you think she gonna get special treatment? She know the district attorney? I mean, hey, you know, again, just going back to just use a anecdotal example, the big folks interview I did, he said his lawyer told him, yo, bro, go to sleep, my nigga. I'm playing golf with your judge in the morning. Yes, like, yo, if you've ever been to court and you have a really good lawyer, this is how you know you have a really good lawyer. When your lawyer comes in and before they get on the record, he checks up on the judge, be like, hey, how's your kids? How's this? How's blah, 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 blah. Hey, I heard about your 50th, year in, hey, I heard, whatever. I sent my regards. Once they start talking like that, they gang. That's gang right there. Bruh, they'll be on the opposite side, but they all still, be in the same locker room. So, again, you obviously want a lawyer who's mad cool with the DA, right? They go to war, quote, unquote. But at the end of the day, if you paying enough or if you're favored by your attorney or whatever, you give enough incentive, sometimes they could pull that favor for you. Be like, yo, they might be talking to the prosecutor like, yo, John, I need this. I know I need this. This is my biggest client, blah, 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 blah. I need this. And they're going to be like, all right, bet, we're going to give you this plea. It works like that with a DA and a defense attorney, and it definitely works like that with a judge because most judges were either former prosecutors or worked in a prosecutor's office to some extent, right?
Under investigation.
I'm going to object.
Somebody said just watch Law and Order, all 200 season. What up, behind the bell? Tara, I see you, girl. Lizzie, what up? By the way, Lizzie, I think you make a great point. This here is torching everything she was doing to have the face, because let's put the YSL case in perspective. After watching Biden win, right? So Biden defeated Trump. It was a time where now, first of all, even Kamala's, her being, put in the vice presidency role. Hey, people of color, especially aligning with the Democratic agenda, you could win, but you have to have certain type of credentials, right? You somehow have to be loved by the people, but still be willing to be, for example, tough on crime. Sometimes that's an oxymoron because sometimes people love the person who just turns a blind eye to crime, right? But Fani Willis, even though she was prosecuting Young Thug, YFN Lucci, she's going at gangs and rappers in Atlanta, some people are looking at her like, yo, she's brave. She's like a black woman who's strong. She's standing on principle. That was a good look for her, right? What resume she was building up is, hey, listen, I'm tough on crime. I'm a strong black woman, and I'm not going to take no type of ifs, ands, or buts, or maybes, and I'm going to make sure shit is how it should be ran. Okay? Cool. Even though, obviously Young Thug probably don't like her, but all of us were like, hey, listen, she doing what she got to do. If y'all niggas was doing crime like that, she cleaning it up. So black people were giving her a pass. As I said, bit off more than she could chew. She went at Trump. She thought going at Trump, the base that she built up, everybody was going to say, oh, no, she is one of us, right? Fuck her going at, of course she got to go arrest Jeffrey and them because they was doing murders and shit. But her going at Trump, she's here to hold everybody accountable. It's now fucking up her public perception because now all her tea, all her demons are coming out to be judged. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't see a political future for her. Even if she stays on as the prosecutor, I can't even see Trump getting prosecuted in this. Like, they've turned this into the, hey, this is a scandal now. Yo, you hired a special prosecutor who you were fucking for 3 years. Like, whoa. You might have like an ulterior agenda. So again, no matter what, I think Fani Willis aim at getting to, I don't know, the White House or bigger in politics. I think that's over. And I think you're going to see her pivot to, especially with impeachment and other like potential things coming down the line. She's going to make sure that, which I don't think will happen, not only this administration, but she's going to make sure she doesn't go to jail, right? Which, shit, imagine the person who puts people in jail now having to defend themselves against going to jail. So her career is done, I think.
That we're here before Your Honor.
Well, again, the question already asked is, take personal or business trips. She said,
But that was with
personal
Mr.
or
Wade.
business.
That was with Mr. Wade. This I asked her alone.
Good.
By the way, chat, could somebody give me a timestamp on this? This is a clip that happened, and I gotta get the timestamp. Listen to Fani. Like, I need this timestamp. She's going crazy. Listen to this.
Wade visit you at the place you laid your head?
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth, Judge. And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Mr. Wade visit you at the place you laid your head?
Yo, she going crazy, huh?
well, if he doesn't want to,
I'm gonna skip a little bit into it.
Throughout that time period, throughout my life, I've withdrawn money from the bank. Yes, of course.
Talking about cash that is that you go to a
Cash,
bank
right.
or you go to an ATM and you take cash out.
Either that way, or you go to Publix and you overpay, or you go to another store and you overpay. So yes, both through that, yes, of course they would reflect that at times.
Okay, and so those records, if we had them, would show that, correct?
That throughout the course of my life, I took out money.
I was very specific. I said
Yes, during the course
2020.
of that time period, I would have taken money out. Yes,
So, do you have a problem with?
I absolutely. Yes.
You don't want the bank records to be made available for the court and the court
I'm
alone.
going to object as to the relevance, and this has already been addressed earlier as it relates to other records. This is an improper line of questioning. He's doing it for the purpose of harassment. Frankly, Your Honor.
I'm just going to sustain it on relevance.
This is Sado, I believe. Let's go back.
The hoard, cash hoard.
I would not classify it in that way, but I have money at my house. Yes, sir.
And the money, when you had money at your house,
I'm speaking too loosely. I had money wherever I was staying, so I was not referring to my house in 750. I'm saying I had money wherever I was laying my head. Yes, sir. That was my fault that I wasn't clear.
so when you were at what we said the Yerti condo during the time period we've always discussed, that's where you would keep your cash.
When I stayed there, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right.
Let's see if we can get through a few more defense counsel.
I don't think there's many more interesting parts of this. I'll try to play a few more. By the way, it's still live, but we'll catch the highlights pretty much either tomorrow or we'll catch it later tonight. Anyway, let me see what else is talking about.
You're at the end of the line. I'm sorry about that, but we've got to find new ground.
Well, let me move on to my point here. So the point is that what you're telling us is that you were in financial straits, but really that your testimony today is you had a cash hoard of maybe up to $10,000 in cash where you laid your head at night so that you would dip out and there would be no record of it, correct?
That's not what I'm telling you, sir. That's not at all what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that throughout the course of my life, I have always kept cash in my house. That cash has ranged from times, my father would probably be ashamed of this because he would say it should be more. But that cash at times has ranged from $500 to maybe $9,000. And he would be like, that is not what I told you to do. I've always had that amount of money. What I've told you is that when I travel, you do better negotiating.
Okay, so she's gonna live and die on this. Hey, listen, I never got anything that was, maybe a favor by this guy who I was fucking, pause. Even though we were in a sexual relationship, everything he gave me, I gave him back, which, come on, we got to use our brains. Like, which woman is going to give you back half of it? Come on, stop it. Like, let's stop playing, right? Okay. So, but she's saying, no, I paid everything back, but I only paid it in cash. So you can't find any proof that I paid it back. So you got to take my word and his word. And they're like, well, could we find the ATM withdrawals where you took out the money to pay him back that? I'm like, nah, I got money in my house. So she's playing a very interesting game of cash withdrawals. I paid the guy back. He never paid nothing for me. So he wasn't spending money on me, right? And that's important because what happens is that as an elected official, it becomes grossly, incorrect to be spending state allocated funds or government allocated funds, or to be using for your own personal choice or recreation, anything that has to do with business. But also, not only is that egregious, it becomes even more egregious when you start thinking about, okay, the person who you're in a romantic relationship with, you then give it a contract, which a lot of people believe was just way too much, right? So she's saying all the right things. I think if you're educated enough, I think if you're smart enough, you realize, bro, she's sucking this nigga's dick and getting piped down by this nigga. Like, of course she hired the nigga because she's getting fucked by him. She's going to try to describe it as, no, he's the best guy for the job. Like, we just, we wanted to pay him the right amount. And be like, well, you were fucking him though. Oh, well, yeah, no, we did have a relationship, but it didn't matter. All the money before that was a split down the middle. Cap. Like, we all know it's cap, right? Oh, good. All right. Listen, have y'all seen